Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Skylar, and in today's video, this is so random. It is like 11 o'clock at night right now, and my son is asleep in my room, so I can't record at my desk. So I'm just sitting on the floor in the hallway. I'm sorry if you can hear him snoring. My son is a loud snorer. If you can hear the fireworks are still going, even though it is no longer 4th of July, but you know, it is what it is. So I have been thinking about this topic for a while and I wanted to talk about it. So a couple days ago, I was on the phone with a family member. I guess someone had asked them like, oh, how is Skylar doing? No. Sorry, sorry. The person asked them, where do I live? They wanted to know what apartments I live in. I live in a very small town, so like everyone knows everyone. So they were asking this person like what apartments I live in, and this person was like, oh, she stays at these apartments, and they asked, oh, how does Skylar like it? How does she like living in those apartments? The apartment complex I live in, I've only been here since November, so I've been here for like what, 7 months, 8 months, I don't know. But they asked like, oh, how does Skylar like it? And I'm sorry, I'm like so close to the camera. Maybe I should like push my phone back a little bit so I'm just like not all up in your grill. But they asked, oh, how does Skylar like it? And the person that I was on the phone with basically said something along the lines of like, oh, you know, Skylar's a loner, so she kind of just does her own thing. So as long as nobody's bothering her, she's happy. And it really like sat with me for a minute. Like I sat with that comment that they made and I was kind of like, okay, you know. And I just want to talk about it because a lot of the people around me kind of associate me with being like a loner and being an introvert, and which I am. I completely think that I am an introvert. I've never doubted that for a second. I do believe that I am an introvert. I am a very quiet person, but sometimes I think that the reason why I am so shy and the reason why I am so reserved, and if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I've been like just trying to heal different parts of myself, trying to figure out who I really am and like what parts of me are actually me and what parts of me are like things that I've just like adapted and like picked up on, you know. But one of the things is that, you know, as a kid, I was always labeled as like the difficult one. I'm the only girl. I have 2 older brothers, and I was always dramatic and difficult and just all of those things that you slap on a little girl with big emotions. That's what was slapped on to me. I could never be the victim in a story. Like when I was younger, if someone hurt me or did something wrong to me, if I told like the adults in my life, it would always be like, well, what did you do? You know, what did you do to make them do that? Like, let's say my brother would like broke one of my toys or something, you know, it's like, oh, he broke my toy, and it would be like, well, what did you do to make him break your toy? You must have made him mad, you know, like things like that. And even to this day as an adult, I still kind of get a little bit of that from the older people in my life, you know, like with my son's dad. My son's dad was not very good to me. We're not gonna like get into it, but you know, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, he wasn't very good to me. There's a lot of trauma from that relationship or lack thereof, you know, but he's done things to me, and I've told the adults in my life, or I don't know, that feels so weird, the adults in my life. I am an adult, but you know, the adults in my life. I've told them like, yeah, he did this to me, and they would be like, well, what did you do to make him do that? It's the same thing. Or it's well, you know, you can't really believe Skylar because she kind of exaggerates. I think I said that in my last video. I think I said that in my last video, but yeah. That particular saying came from that situation with my son's father. It was like, well, you can't believe her because this was between two conversations that two people in my life had, and the conversation made its way back to me. And it was, well, you can't believe Skylar because she exaggerates. So I say all this to say that, like, I think sometimes, like, as a kid, I wasn't a dumb kid. I've always been very aware of my life and my surroundings, and I've always been very aware of my existence and how my existence affects those around me. I've said this in my previous video, but I'm very aware of where I stand in life, and I'm very aware of when I'm welcomed somewhere and when I'm not wanted. And I'm not that person that, like, even if I know I'm not wanted in a room, I'm gonna stay in that room. I'm not that person. Like, if I sense a vibe, if I sense that I'm not wanted here, I leave. I've always been that way. So I think as a kid, I learned to be, like, pleasing because I was slapped all these titles onto me, like all these titles of being difficult and all those stuff. It's like you develop like a sense of, like, okay, well, sorry, the air just turned off, so it's gonna sound a little weird. I'm sorry if the air goes on and off. I should probably just turn it off, but if it turns on again, I'll turn it off. But I think you learn how to be, like, pleasing to like the adults and the people around you. You learn how to be pleasing to them because you're just so aware of how your presence affects them, So as a kid, I was told that I was difficult. So what do we do about this? Because I don't want to be difficult. So let's be quiet. Let's not take up too much space. Let's stay to ourselves. Let's be reserved. Growing up, I was picked on a lot. I was picked on by, like, my brothers, and I was picked on by my cousins, and I was the weird cousin. I was the weird sister. I was always afraid of being picked on because it was embarrassing, because we could be sitting in a room with a bunch of people, and my cousins or my brothers or someone in my life would always, like, it's like we're in this room full of people, and you find this one moment where maybe there's not that many people talking, or it's like, think quick, what's something to talk about? So then oh, Skylar, remember when you did that one time, or remember this, or, oh, well, Skylar does this, like, there's always something to say. There's always, something to make fun of and something to bring up. And so I think I grew this feeling of, like, I don't want to ever be picked on, or I don't want to ever give somebody content to, like, make on me. I don't ever want someone to have something to, like, crack a joke on. So I've learned to kind of just be quiet, because I sometimes feel like if I take up too much space, someone's going to make fun of me, or someone's going to make me feel bad about myself. And I actually have a friendship that the friendship is kind of not really there anymore. I've decided to kind of start to, like, separate myself from this particular person, because this particular person does that. Like, they always find a moment in time where, when we're around people, they always find something to, like, bring up, that they know is going to be very embarrassing for me. And so now I'm very aware of that. I don't like people that do that. I don't like people that make fun of you. I think that you can crack a joke, or you can be silly without, like, intentionally trying to embarrass another person. I don't ever think that you need to embarrass someone to make a funny joke. I don't like being made fun of, because half of the time I really am truly just being myself, and I'm existing. And If you're the type of person that's gonna make fun of me for literally just being myself, like, I don't want anything to do with that. So that friendship, I've kind of chose to like back myself up a little bit because I don't like that, you know? You're my friend, I should be able to exist around you, and I don't want you to make fun of me. I would never make fun of someone for being themselves. But I do think a big part of being a loner is my trauma. I will say, like, your childhood is a big, big part of who you are as an adult. And the trauma was not your fault. But I think, you know, taking action and taking back your life, that's completely up to you. You know, you can stay stuck or you can move forward. And I think I choose to move forward a lot of the time. But there's also moments like this where I'm going to sit down and I'm going to sit in it for a little bit. And if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. But we're going to sit in it for a little bit. And so I like to sit in my childhood sometimes. And I like to sit and I like to think, like, had it not been for the trauma, maybe I wouldn't be such a loner. You know, maybe I would take up more space. Maybe I would be more open to allowing people into my life, and maybe I would be more open to being myself and not always putting on this like show for other people. Or, you know, maybe had the adults in my life as a little kid made me feel safe, maybe I would show more of my personality when I'm around people and not just in front of a camera, you know? I seen this video today of this girl who said, I'm trying to teach myself how to be okay with an unfamiliar heaven instead of a familiar hell. And that like really, really cut me deep because it's so true. Like, we will stay so stuck with something that's keeping us in misery, but because of the simple fact that it's familiar, because something unfamiliar could absolutely be 100% what we're looking for, but it's so scary and so daunting because we've never been there before. And it just makes me think about like me as a person, like, who would I be had it not been for the trauma and the stuff that I went through, right? And I think that goes for all of us. Like, I don't think I'm a loner actually, because now that I'm an adult, I crave being around people, and I crave community, and I crave friendships, and I crave love, and I crave all of that. I do. I used to not crave friendships very much. I used to crave relationships more than friendships. And it took me a long time to realize that friendships are just as valuable as romantic relationships. And that life shouldn't just be focused on your romantic relationships, because there's something so beautiful in making friendships that are like friendships that just, you know, they hit you here. So I think that that's such a clear indicator that like I'm not a loner, because I feel like if I was a loner, would I crave those things? Like, I would just want to be by myself, right? And it's like half of the time I don't want to be by myself. Half of the time I don't want to be alone, but it's just what's familiar. And I also think like being a loner is what feels familiar to me, and it's just kind of something that I'm so used to. This is my familiar hell, being a loner, being alone. That's my familiar hell. But it's not really what I want for myself anymore, you know? Like, being a loner is not really me at my core. It's kind of just what's felt safe. What feels safe. I think that's the one way we could wrap it up, is like being a loner feels safe. And so I've chose it for so long. There's definitely a lot of soul searching here. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a lot of soul searching. There's definitely a lot of like, and that's really what I started this channel for, is that like maybe talking about this stuff out loud will help me like pinpoint the areas of my life that I'm like, I could work on that, or I could focus on this, or you know. I love talking about stuff out loud because it just I don't know, it just does something, you know. Being lonely is safe, you know, but who are we once we step out of that area? So hopefully one day I will step out of this, you know, because I do, and I'm trying. I'm trying really hard. I've been trying really hard to make friends, and been trying really hard to say yes more. But yeah, y'all, it's late. I just wanted to come, you know, brain dump, I guess, get some stuff off my mind before I forget about it, because I would have just went on like, you know, about normal, and I would have just completely forgot about this topic in my head. So wanted to talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to leave me a like and a comment down below. And you know, if you resonate with this topic, definitely leave that down below. Or if there's anything that you guys want me to talk about, any type of video recommendations, please always leave them down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.